Dr. Bridget here. I'm in this amazing hotel, the Coran Hotel and Spa today, down in West Wales, and I'm doing a sort of case study, if you like, with Dee Vickers, who's here with me today, because Dee came along and did one of my breakthrough sort of life and business coaching packages over, the last 6 months really, isn't it, I think?
Yes.
And I just thought it'd be really useful to for Dee to tell everyone and me how it's all going now and what you came with, and just to general have a chat about it so that other people know
Exactly what
can
you
access
do.
it. Yeah. So I don't know, Dee, whether you'd like to tell people who you are.
Yes, I own the Best of Carmarthenshire and also are organising a business show in Llanelli next year called Calms Means Biz.
Whee! Should I be speaking at?
Which you will indeed, yes.
Get that in there.
Yes, very pleased to have you, along with our other headline speakers.
Absolutely. Cool. So I just wondered, Dee, whether you could, in as much detail or less detail as you want, say how you got to give me a ring. I think it was in the weekend. I was on in a farm with the grandchildren, weren't I? And
I know we had a long chat. I think it would be honest to say that my stress levels had gone beyond copability, and for a variety of different reasons. And I was in a fog.
Yeah.
I had so much going on, but I had no clarity. And I guess the way one is brought up and the way one deals with things we found out, can actually block a whole load of different things.
Yes.
And what I found really useful, one, it was a one-to-one. And I guess for the first time in my life, I had somebody thinking actually about me and my needs. Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm in a business where I'm constantly looking after other people's needs, and their needs must come first. And there must be loads of people like that.
Well, I think myself included.
Yeah, you're
in honesty. Yes.
And if you've got clients, your clients have got to come first. But it was also, because I have so many different channels, I didn't know or could no longer see what was the right channel and how to do things. And I was just not working efficiently any longer. I was exhausted, in a fog and stressed. And I think what you did for me was to clear out a whole load of blockers. Mm-hmm. All sorts of things that had gone on in my past, which we don't need to go through here, but be able to let them go.
Yes.
So there were no longer heavy
behind
suitcases coming along with me.
Yeah.
So they were gone. And again, for the first time, I could think, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I want to do this, or not, as the case may be. Yeah. So I think it was clarity, setting goals.
Because I don't think you could see goals at the time.
Oh, no,
met,
there was just too much stuff going on. Mm. So it was having clarity and goals, time scales, which actually I can teach to other people quite happily, but wasn't doing myself.
Yes.
And I think that's what was so great about you, because it made you think about what you wanted to do, and your coaching changed my mindset. It changed my brain patterns, really. I think that's the other way, isn't it? Because we get so processed about past and what we've always done, is that we need to break that.
Yes.
And you taught me how to break that and focus and see forward to where I was going. And it found it really powerful. I also found it exhausting.
Yes.
Because I spent 48 hours with you, almost. Yeah, to and
you
from.
Did go home.
I did go home between. But it's the first time I've ever spent that amount of time thinking about me.
Yeah. And that's brilliant, isn't it? That you can.
Well, it's brilliant, but it's scary.
Scary, yeah.
Because you have to look at to see, do I really like myself at the end of whatever it is we're coming out with? So it's given me that much more freedom. And the one other big thing is I do like to be liked. I like to be nice. But it's not the be all and end all at the end of the thing. You know, if people don't like what I do, well, that's their problem, and it's certainly not mine. You taught me a whole load of different things to free up, but it was mainly clarity and reducing my stress levels and allowing me to, and you know, you've been there, so if I have a bad moment or a bad day, I know that I can phone you and you put me straight again and say, come on, and do it the way you do it. Yes, exactly. Quick slap down the face and done. So, yeah, it's hard really to put it absolutely into a nutshell.
Yes.
Because there are so many different things, and our brains are so complicated, and we're inculcated by culture, by upbringing, by social whatever, and we are our parents in some ways, because our parents have taught us to do it in
giving
such a way.
Giving you your values and your beliefs.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also a restricting thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly have clarity. I still set goals. I am more organised. Having said that, I'm still not perfect, and I still sometimes get lost in a fog. But I do now know a route out.
You can see that you're doing it, what the triggers are. Yeah.
Actually, that's the difference, yes. A big difference is I had a rough day last week, and I woke up in this fog. Something like you were saying earlier, and it's... I'm thinking, this is just not a good day for doing what I was going to do, so let's change focus and do something else. And then I felt much better.
Yeah. Changed your emotional state, recognised it.
Yes. And
believed in yourself and moved on.
And one of the things that I've done, which really helps me and might help others, is I now break my day up into 30 minutes, hours, or 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. Never longer on any one thing than 90 minutes.
No.
And at the 90-minute point, I have a break.
Yes.
And then I start off my next half-hour slot or hour slot. And there's different things within that sort of goal setting and timing that helps me to say, right, I'm not taking any calls for the next hour.
Yes.
I'm focusing only on this.
Fabulous.
So emails switched off, Facebook switched off, any of the distractions. And it's amazing what you can achieve in 30 minutes or 60 minutes.
Something called the Pomodoro technique. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's an Italian sort of method of cooking tomatoes. Oh. And it takes, I'm not sure, but I think it's 30 minutes. You can actually buy timers and you set it and you just do your task for that time. And then you're already doing it.
Doing it by default. But it works. And apparently the brain pattern, and I don't know whether I learnt this from you or from what you have been saying, I've picked it up, works efficiently for about 90 minutes. And then it slowly goes off.
That's when the fog sort of starts
drifting in. And learning not to be distracted, because I work with two big screens when I'm in the office, and I can have Facebook there and I can have emails, and they irritatingly ping up in the corners. And the only way to stop that is to shut them right down.
Yeah.
So that all you see is what you're working on.
Okay.
So that has given me clarity and less fog.
So in terms of how the process worked, you had to do some homework, which was about your highs and lows from when you were born to now. How did you find that?
That I found tricky. And it wasn't an easy thing. Primarily because there have been blips and traumas throughout my life for various different things. And I've always, as you asked me to do, to draw how I felt, and I draw it as a Pandora's box.
Yes.
With locks. And all my blips, odd things that had happened were in this box. And the frightening thing is when you open that box, you then have to face them full on.
Yes.
And it was dealing with that, actually. And you taught me to deal with each one in succession and block them off, move them to one side, get rid of them and move on. And I think in the majority I have done that.
Yes.
There are times when I'm feeling a bit tired or a bit low that it might come back, but not in a horrible way. It's something, if it suddenly pops up now, I now know what to deal with it.
Yeah.
And
You've got all your learnings.
So you've basically retrained the pattern of whatever my brain is supposed to be doing.
And it's quite interesting because a lot of people have either Pandora's boxes or boxes they lock away, you know, somewhere, or they put things in wardrobes in the back of their mind, people have told me. And the thing that I think is that the timeline that we did on the second day actually empties the Pandora's box.
Yes.
Because if you don't empty it and you just lock it away, then the lid comes off.
Yes, and because they're empty, they're no longer there.
Yeah.
I think, and in most cases they're not. But there are odd things that might trigger a memory. So it could be something that you've watched on TV, or somebody said something. It's rather like perfumes, isn't it? There's certain perfumes
It's
that
a sort of anchor, isn't it, really?
Yes, it triggers certain memories, good or bad.
Yeah.
And those sort of things. And I know when I'm tired, I am more vulnerable to picking those up. But then it's, okay, let's deal with this, let's look where we're going forward. So you've given me the tools in which to, kick that back into touch or out of wherever it is.
What people find is that things tend to ping in and then they ping out quite quickly.
Yes.
Because actually your unconscious mind's learnt what it needs to learn to deal with it.
I think that, that's what I sort of call the brain remapping.
How did you find the actual timeline therapy? Do you remember much about that?
Yeah, a reasonable amount. I found some of it emotional, actually. You know, because I was now looking at it head on and could remember the feelings that I had when this particular incident happened.
Because we did anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt. They're the major emotions ones, that most things come from, aren't they? And with your limiting beliefs and decisions in amongst all of it, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was looking back and actually thinking, well, you know, as a person, I'm okay about this. And also understanding the reactions of other people in my life was not necessarily their fault either, because they were coming from a direction of limited beliefs. So they were doing what they thought was right. Yeah,
with their model of the world.
Of their model of the world, yes. And it wasn't necessarily right for me, but it's understanding they did it, or believing they did it with the best intentions,
isn't it?
Yes, rather than deliberately irritating me.
So you sort of went away from the end of the 2 days with all your negative emotions gone, we crossed all your limiting decisions out, didn't we?
Yeah.
And you had goals, an action plan, and then we had a couple of formal follow-ups and we had some conversations as well.
We did.
In between.
And as you know, not everything went to plan, but again, actually, a lot of why it didn't go to plan because it was out of my control. And the decisions I then made were my decisions based on the facts, which was really helped when I had to make the decision of actually cancelling the show. Yeah, and I was proud of you, actually, because that was you know, you wouldn't have done that before. You'd have sat and worried about it. And in fact, it was such a good illustration, because now the show was just not right for lots and lots of reasons. But I had everybody who had a vested interest in it telling me I needed to still do it. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is awful. And in the end, we weighed up, and my husband was brilliant at this. I said, no, we are not going to bankrupt ourselves doing this for the benefit of everybody else. Yeah. I'm going to cancel. Yeah. And everybody took a deep breath, including myself. But interestingly, the support that I had, everybody, without exception, said, well done, it's the right decision to make. Absolutely. And now, because we found a much, much better venue,
We can do it all again.
We can do it all again,
Yeah.
but a huge amount of lessons have been learned.
Yeah.
In the previous venue we won't be using, but it's all of those things was a good thing, but
Yeah.
I was able to cope with it much, much better. And I tell you, the load that came off me when I made that decision and thought, right, ready for the flat now, and no flat came.
Yeah. So it's a really good example of how doing some intensive coaching and getting rid of stuff gives you that resilience, really, to
Yes.
just be yourself and know what it is that's right for you to do.
Well, several people have said, my goodness, I would have never dared do what you did.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, and nobody has come back to me and said, well, you're the worst thing since sliced bread, I'll never work with you again, or anything like that.
No.
There might have been rumbles somewhere, but it didn't get back to me.
No.
And we're moving forward again.
Fab.
So, which I think
And
is,
what's next now?
well, quite a lot. We've got the new show, Sell the Best of Pembrokeshire, which must come off. Focus my attention on Carmarthenshire with some great businesses like the Coran. We're going to do the awards here. So we have the awards, which will be launched in August. And we will start to look really probably as growing again. So maybe in the autumn we will start looking at more employees and things like that. But no, generally I'm feeling more positive about the future than I was 6 months ago.
Oh, fab.
So no, I do have a much clearer head. I can't say that I'm perfect all the time. It's hard, really.
But at least you can have a laugh about it now, rather than feeling just, oh my God, what do I do? So overwhelmed, isn't it? Yeah.
Actually, the overwhelming feeling, the worst feeling I've ever had is the feeling before I cancelled the show, whereas, as you know, that I've got this heart condition, my heart or my chest was so heavy and so painful, I'm thinking, hold on a minute, this is not right.
No.
And as soon as I made the decision and had clarity, which was again down to how you had trained and coached me, all disappeared.
Fab.
So,
Cool.
much, much better. So it's all down to you, really.
You're the one that did the work.
Well, yeah, and it's not easy.
But be committed, really, to making the changes, I guess. So
Oh yes,
interesting.
but it's like anything, isn't it? If you're given a lifeline, you should take it and take the consequences of it and learn that you're actually not going to dive in this pool again because it's, you're going to sink. You have to learn from it, and yeah, it's also facing up to the fact that what was doing, I wasn't doing right, which was causing all the stress.
Yeah, I guess there are no rights or wrongs, just how you
No, exactly.
how you've sort of almost been thinking beforehand that led to those results, which is changeable, isn't it?
Yes, and I think that's the biggest thing, is that we don't have to follow the same pattern.
Yeah.
And by being coached and understanding it, we can move it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the way we do it.
So what would you say to someone that was perhaps feeling a bit stuck, stressed, overwhelmed, in a fog?
Well, the first thing I would say is they need somebody like you to actually sit down with them, give themselves time. I think the most valuable thing is to take time out, and it was 2 days that we did, 2 days of around 6-7 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fairly intense. I know that there might be tears on the way, there might be emotions, but at the end, the sense of relief and weight lifted and clarity is worth every single penny.
Yeah. Thanks very much for taking the time to come and talk about your experiences. And
Well, my pleasure. You helped.
yeah, thank you. And it's my experience that people who are in a fog or have a lack of self-belief or whatever it is that's holding them back because perhaps of stuff that's happened in the past, then spending 2 days with me doing some intensive coaching makes a huge difference. And timeline therapy is the one thing that it's almost like, instead of me swanning around Europe in my motorhome or sitting down by the river with a glass of wine. It's the thing that makes the difference. And, you know, I just think that if there are people, you know, who feel the same way, who have got a whole load of negative emotions, who know that they're holding themselves back, because it is really just them, it is you that's holding yourself back. I have the tools and, you know, the support then to help you have a totally different life, and write on your gravestone, say, you know, I had an amazing life, rather than, you know, I was stuck and never did anything about it. And, you know, the benefits are huge. So if you're feeling the same way, sign up for perhaps my prescriptions for success. You know, give me a ring. I do a free consultation in my sort of surgery. I put my stethoscope on and we sort out what needs to be sorted out, and in whatever way that needs to be sorted out. And just give me a shout and let's get your life back together.
Back on track.
Back on track. Clear.
Yes, absolutely.
No, not foggy.
No foggy, no.